and gentlemen, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Victoria Makoboshani, the creator of the Be Smart Budget, and of course your sister in budgeting. So today I am going to be talking about a topic that has been going around social media, and it's a debate for a long time. So these are my opinion, guys. These are my opinion. So where to rent or to buy. So here are the 10 reasons for me why I think renting works. So if also, guys, whether you rent or you buy, it all depends on your financial situation at that time, your lifestyle, your goals, and where you really are in life, you know. So it all depends on you. Do not get bullied by society and the standards that people are putting up for us. Like, you put up your own standards, you go on your own pace, at your own lane, you know, and stick to what you are doing financially. But either way, renting is not a waste of money, and buying a house also, sometimes it's not a good investment, or it's not a wealth building tool. It depends, guys. All of these things depends on a lot of figures, a lot of numbers, and a lot of circumstances. So at the end of the day, I always say, you do you, boo. So if you think that renting is the best thing for you, then honey, go ahead and rent. If you think buying is the best thing for you, then boo, go ahead and buy. But for me, these are my reasons why I'd rather rent now. Not that I can afford a house, but I'd rather rent now until I can actually afford to buy a house comfortably. And I am one person that likes to be prepared for the future. So I want to be prepared for what I'm going to be doing tomorrow, in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years. So I need to know that when the time comes for me to buy a house, am I clued up? Do I know what goes into buying a house? So here are a few things before we start that goes into that you need to do when you're buying a house. These are the costs actually that you need to know about before you buy a house. So you are going to need to have a down payment for your transfer fees, your bond registration fees, your homeowner insurance, and home inspection fees. So your real estate will advise you to have a liquid capital should any hidden cost arise, because there are things that could arise in your process of buying a house, and you're going to have the money for all those things, né? So those are the things that you need to know about buying a house. And I agree, I know buying a house could be a good investment depending on how well you're buying. Someone once said to me, property doesn't always have money, and I didn't understand, because we are now all told that property is the way. And this person said, no, some properties are liabilities. You end up paying more for them than you actually bought, and their value never really increases because of the area that is your property is based in. So you need to be really careful about those kind of things. But this is a practical example I want to give you, and for me, how I feel renting goes and buying, when it comes to renting and buying. So when you're buying a house, you need all those costs, and you need them upfront, or some people say that you need to have, you can take an all credit when you're buying the house, ask the bank to pay for everything, which makes your bond really expensive. So these are one of the benefits of renting. When you are renting, you do not need all these costs. Yes, in other instances, you might have to pay double the rent in 1 month because the other works as a deposit, but that money comes back to you, and you do not have to have a credit on your name at that time. So for me, renting gives you a chance to build wealth. It gives you a chance to be flexible in which area you stay. Like, for example, if I was to, let's say this place is being sold and I wanted to buy an apartment, I could not afford it, you know, because they are quite pricey. But imagine now I can rent this place because the rent is affordable, and it's within my paycheck kind of vibe. So that's why I say it all also lands on your financial situation. But the benefits of renting is whilst you rent, you can put away money for that, so that when the time comes for you to buy a house, because eventually you're going to have to buy a house, you cannot rent all your life. And when the time comes for you to buy, not only do you have all cash for all these other costs, but you have a good deposit for your house, you know, because you've been saving up all these years. But that's if you think like me. That's if you think like me. So renting doesn't have transfer fees. You do not have you pay property rates. That is also the landlord. And also when you are renting, you do not pay maintenance costs. That is also all up to the landlord. So it takes off a lot of responsibility off of you, and a lot of stress, and a whole lot of stress is relieved from you as compared to when you're buying a house. When you buy a house, everything that goes into that house, it is your sole responsibility, maintaining it, making sure that it is keeping up with the area surrounding you, because people are gonna want to, you're gonna want people to look at your house and see that it's well maintained, it's well clean, and especially if it's in an area where your neighbors are doing so. You do not want to be that odd person who would say, well, so you're going to have to keep up with the Joneses in your area, and it's not even rocket science anyway. So, and then when you're renting, you have access to amenities, like you have the pool, you have the gym in your area, you have a garage, you have a shelter for your car. And in other in your home, like for example, in my mother's house, we don't have garages. Our cars are getting burned by the sun. But where I rent, there's a garage for my car, you know, so you get access to such amenities. Yes, we don't, for example, if you were to put a pool in your house, it would cost you much more if you wanted a pool, or you wanted a home gym, or to even build that garage. So that is one of the things I like about renting. And renting, guys, gives you access to areas that you cannot actually afford if you were to buy. Like you stay in the elite areas because you can afford the rent, as I mentioned before, but you cannot afford the actual bond repayment. You know, you cannot afford the on theory you can afford it, but on paper you can't. So that is why you end up renting that place, you know. So those are the other thing. And as I said, there is no hidden cost. The money in your contract is the money that you pay back, and it saves you a lot of stress. Renting saves you a lot of stress, and it delays you, as I said, from buying the property on credit. You can go all cash. So those are the benefits of renting. And then you have the flexibility to move whenever you want to move. You know, I am young and I probably haven't decided yet the area that I want to stay in. I haven't decided exactly the kind of house that I want, because I'm still young. So renting gives me that flexibility to choose where I want to stay, when I want to leave, when, you know, all those kind of things. It gives me the power. It gives me my power. As for with buying a house, as I said, it would be very difficult to take a house and put it back on the market every time you change your mind about it. So if you like, a house is more permanent. Like it's a more permanent thing for all of us. As for with renting, it is just like, okay, it's temporary. If you want to move to another place, you move to another place if you do not like the aesthetics of where you stay. So it gives you that flexibility in that sense. And I wanted to make an example when it comes to crunching numbers. Okay, so let's say I found an apartment and the rent is 2,500 rand. And then the same apartment is going on the market, and let's say the bond repayment, obviously it's 2,500 rand. But because you are the homeowner, you are now going to have to pay 900 rand for the insurance, because you have to insure your house. And as a tenant, I'm just paying the 2.5. Keep that in mind. And then as the homeowner, you're going to have to pay rates and levies for 450, depending on which area your house is at. And still keep this in mind. As the tenant, I am just paying the 2.5. So, and then there's 700 for maintenance. Every time I call you and tell you the lock broke, the geyser broke, this thing it's a went off, so you need to have that 700 rand in place, let's say for that month, to pay that. As the tenant, I have paid you 2,500 rand, and as the landlord, you have paid 4,550 rand. So you see, so if you do calculate your numbers well, and you're not financially there yet, I always say that then renting is not a waste of money. It is just preparing you and helping you to make up your mind and be sure of what you want to do. So those are the reasons why I think I would still continue renting. And as I said, not that I can afford a house, but that is the reason why I would continue renting, to save up all these monies and to be flexible until I am certain of which area I want to live in. And also, now my child doesn't stay with me, but should she come to me, then when I'm picking an area to stay, I need to pick a good school that area has a doctor or a clinic or whatever. So those are the other factors that affect you buying a house now. So yeah, so those are my reasons why I would still stay renting, even if afford that income. Even if I can afford to buy a house, I would definitely keep on renting for all those reasons until I'm very comfortable to buy a house. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and remember, none of my videos constitutes as financial advice. If you are seeking for financial advice, do speak with someone who's certified and registered with the FSCA. See you on the next one. Mwah, mwah, mwah.